You know, they say when Marc Savard was injured, he was chomping at the bit to get back. According to Dan Carcillo, they weren't kidding. In Game 1 of the Eastern Conference semifinal between the Boston Bruins and the Philadelphia Flyers, Marc Savard became the feel-good story of the NHL playoffs. In Game 2, the Bruins still won, but Savard was in the headlines for a different reason. Because Flyers superpest Dan Carcillo says Savard bit him.
Savvy bit me. Savvy? That really hurt.
Charlie bit me jokes aside, do you think Marc Savard actually bit Dan Carcillo? Because this wouldn't be the first time Savard got accused of biting, or the first time Carcillo embellished. And most importantly, the Bruins have a 2-0 series lead. Now both games have been close, and now they're going back to Philadelphia for 2 straight, so this series could get evened up. Or will it be Tuca time once again? As long as we're talking about things that bite, let's move on to the San Jose-Detroit series. Now, remember last video when I talked about this? I haven't heard a single suggestion for throw the shark. Well, sure enough, Game 2, some Sharks fan throws a shark onto the ice with an octopus stuffed in its mouth. Hockey's version of arts and crafts with seafood. But the series is starting to look that way with the Sharks taking a 3-0 lead over the Wings. Now, I didn't expect the Wings to dominate in this series, but I also didn't expect them to get dominated. And all playoffs long, the Sharks have been getting production from some of their secondary scores, but now with guys like Joe Thornton and Patrick Marleau starting to turn it back on, they're deadly. Let's head east to a team that refuses to be dominated, the Montreal Canadiens, as they take on the Pittsburgh Penguins. Now, the Pens shut out the Habs 2-0 in Game 3 to take a 2-1 series lead. A big reason for that is Marc-Andre Fleury is stepping his game up to where Yaroslav Halak's is. And no, he hasn't had to make a billion saves, but when he's been called upon, he's kept the puck out. And while there's talk of negativity brewing in the Habs dressing room with the Kostitsyn brothers, there's a great feel-good story on the Canadiens. And I mean, other than the fact that they're the 8th seed and still playing. PK Subban has been absolutely incredible. He's playing more minutes as an AHL call-up than most veteran NHL defensemen can ever hope to play in their career. So Habs fans, correct me if I'm wrong, but PK's gotta be a full-time Hab next year, am I right? And let me ask Pens fans something. How confident are you that the Pens can get the job done without Jordan Staal? Because even though they said he's good to go, let's pretend the Penguins advance and he's not ready for the next round. You're looking at the Broad Street Bullies or the Big Bad Bruins. Told me you don't want Jordan Staal back for that series. Now ending out our NHL playoff wrap-up, the Vancouver Canucks and the Chicago Blackhawks tied at a game apiece. And after destroying the Hawks in Game 1, the Canucks got out to a quick 2-0 lead in Game 2. Canucks miss a few details, get caught out on some long shifts, the Hawks score 4 straight goals, and all of a sudden it's tied up. And even though the Hawks managed to tie up the series, there is fantastic news for the Canucks. And that is that no matter how many goals the Hawks score over the next couple games in Vancouver, you won't have to listen to Chelsea Dagger. You know what? I actually love the Fratellis, but if they played that song every time that my team got scored on, I'd lose my mind. Now it's stuck inside my head. And before I go, I gotta give huge props to the Windsor Spitfires defending their title as OHL champions, winning the Robertson Cup for a 2nd straight year. And on a team as stacked as the Windsor Spitfires, you talk about guys like Taylor Hall, Cam Fowler, Ryan Ellis, Greg Nemish, but there's one guy not really getting as much recognition as I think he deserves. And that's their super goalie, Philippe Grubauer. There's tons of unsung heroes on the Spitfires. I mean, coming down from 3 games to none to beat Kitchener, and then taking on the Barrie Colts, the #1 team in the country, and beating them. What? But there were times when Grubauer had to stand on his head, and he was amazing. And I don't think he's going to get his own movie, but my buddy who's a Windsor fan suggested that we call him McGrubauer. McGrubauer! He makes crazy saves, and then he wins OHL titles. Explosions aren't in my budgets. I'll see you next time for Saturday's video, but if you want more from me in the meantime, you can listen to the debut of the Steve Dangle Show live on fusionradio.ca on Thursday at 8:10. That is 8:10 Eastern. Be there or be stupid. Oh, and one last thing I almost forgot. The unthinkable has happened. Somebody made a History Will Be Made parody of me. Link in the description. See you guys next time. Don't bite anyone while I'm gone.